Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Safari and this is Safari's Journey. And on the previous video, I told you I would speak on, we would get into a relationship series. So I'm going to speak on my first love, um, my first real relationship and my only relationship that I've had. Um, and I'm 33 now. I've only been in one relationship, and that was 10 years ago. Um, yes, it'll actually make 11 years in December of this year. So a long time, and on the previous video, I talked about um, why I've been single for so long. So now I'm going to talk about my first love. So we're going to call him Odell. And Odell, how me and Odell met. Ah, okay, so I'm revealing something. I said I was going to be raw and real on this YouTube channel. Me and Odell met on Backpage. Yes, that Backpage. And if you know about Backpage, you know. The rappers used to talk about it. I mean, I know the girl's going to know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what Backpage is, basically Backpage was a escorting website when I was in that life. And I met him through that. So he was supposed to be a potential client of mine. And I never forget, he came and see me. And, instantly I was attracted to him. I was. He was what I imagined my man to be. And, I know girls be like, you're not supposed to mix business with pleasure. And you're really not supposed to. But sometimes you you meet some attractive men, that you find attractive. Y'all have good energy and good vibes. So basically, he was supposed to be a trick, but he didn't trick, actually. Me and him, he came see me. We spent hours talking. We did the do, and I didn't charge him. Now he would say, if I would have charged him that night, me and him wouldn't have been together. That's what he said. Who knows? So to me, it started off wrong any goddamn way. You know, um, we started through Backpage, so that's how we met. So we started developing a relationship, started to getting to know each other. Second thing, let me give you a little background on Odell. Odell, he was a ex-con. He had did 10 years in federal prison. And at the time we met, I believe he was still in the halfway house or just got out the halfway house. And he also was in a relationship. Okay. So we're going to get to that. He was in a relationship. So he was in a relationship with someone. I believe he was in a halfway house, like I said, when we met, or just finished the halfway house program. And he started to come see me. Like he would start to come see me like every week. So we really started to get close. We really started to bond. I got to know him more. But like I said, he was in a relationship. So I'm not gonna lie, the girl used to be calling the phone, asking where he at. He used to say he was still at work or whatever, but a woman intuition doesn't lie, and I know she wasn't stupid. She knew something was going on. And I never forget one time he was to my house, and like they say, black people don't never change the fire alarm or the beeper, like change the batteries in the beeper. My beeper used to be going off, and I never forget he had that girl on speakerphone, and she was like, "Oh, you lying," because I could hear that same beep in the background. So she knew, like she knew you was at somebody's house or what. And I don't know, he said whatever, you know. So at the time I was still in a certain town in Louisiana. And like I said, we was getting to know each other. We had started messing around. Months had been passed. We started, developing feelings and stuff like that. I ended up moving to New Orleans. So I ended up moving to New Orleans, and at the time, me and him still was talking. So him and the girl had then broke up, and he was living with his mama. So him and his mama end up getting into it. I never forget. Him and his mama end up getting into it, and he was like, "Oh, I can't be here." Da 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 da. Now, mind you, his grandmother raised him, so he was always like the black sheep of the family. His grandmother raised him, um, and he never really had a bond with his mom or dad. So their relationship had already been rocky. His grandmother passed. That's who he always called mom. She passed away. Prior to him, I think prior to him getting incarcerated. So he was staying with his mama. Him and his mama got into it. I'll never forget. He called me and was like, you know, I can't be here, da 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 da. So I was like, well, why don't you just come move with me? So he agreed, and I drove an hour away, and I went get him. So he moved in. Now, at the time, I was working for Circle K convenience store. I was working for Circle K, and I was still, doing S work as well. So I stopped all that. I stopped. Well, I was still had my 9 to 5, but of course, I stopped, posting ads because he hadn't moved in. So he was like, he gonna look for a job and all that, which he did. He found him a job, and he found a job close to where we were living, like literally around the corner for a factory. So he started working a factory job. We had made it official, and like, I have a boyfriend now. I never had a boyfriend. I had little guys I talked to and developed friendship, but a guy, I never had a boyfriend. So I wasn't sure if I was um, going to be able to be monogamous, because I never had been monogamous. I never been a one woman man, uh, a one man woman. Y'all know what I mean. So, I was unsure about this. Like, I was like, but like I said, aesthetically, he was what I liked and wanted. Now, Odell was not comfortable all the way with his sexuality, with his attraction. So it was things that he did that I would never put up with the man today. That was the 21-year-old me. And mind you, I wouldn't say he was down low. He was discreet. I wouldn't say down low. Girl, am I lying? I can't really say down low because he met my family. Of course, my family knew about him and all that. But I never met his family. You know, like I said, his family was an hour away from where we was living at. I never met any of his family members. You know, and of course he was not ready for that yet. Um, you know, we would do date nights, we would be going out. And I come to realize that it had to take him some time to get fully comfortable, but that messed with my confidence. For example, we had decided on like date nights. So like Friday nights would be our date night. So we would go on date night. Like he agreed to date night. But he would do little things and the girls know what I'm talking about. Like we know. The girls know what I'm talking about. He would take his time getting out the car and would be like, "Oh, go ahead, go find us our seat." Like not us walking together. You want me to go find a seat. You acting like you looking for something in the car or whatever like that. Because you're still shame. You still have some shame around it. You still not fully comfortable with your attraction and being with me. And of course, as a trans woman, that messes around with my gender dysphoria. That's a messes around with my confidence. You know, regardless of my gender, like that would mess around with anyone. So, you know, your partner is acting ashamed of you and you know it. I'm not stupid. And like I said, the girls would know what I'm talking about. Like he would do little things like that, want me to walk ahead and he walked behind me. And okay, so the waiter would come to the table and she asking for our order. You acting all fidgety. To me, you clocking my tea. That's, you know, the girls say clocking tea, you clocking my tea like you doing too much. Like you, oh, what, sir, what would you like to drink? And he looking in the menu. Oh, Sprite. Well, why you not looking at the person face to face in the eyes? You know, so like little things, you know, if people can pick up on energy, it's off putting. So to me, it's like a catching on thing. Well, something not right with this situation because he act like he can't look at me when, you know, I'm asking him for his order. So he would do little stuff like that. And I would bring it up to him and be like, you know, it hurt my feelings. You know, you acting like you're still ashamed. And he would be like, no, I'm not. Like he would try to gaslight me and be like, no, I'm not. You're not satisfied. You say I'm ashamed of you, but yet I'm going out with you. Uh, you know, and he would say, you know, stuff like that. Oh, I met your family and all that. Gaslighting me. So eventually that started getting a little better. Like, you know, that starting to get a little better because I felt he was, you know, getting more comfortable. Um, and I never forget one time we did go out. We went out to a restaurant, date night, 1 hour date night. So we went out. And he actually did see somebody he seen, like he knew. And I know when he seen the guy, he act like he saw a ghost. But I was sitting down and I think the dude was passing by and like, you know, he was facing towards the door. So like when the dude walking, you know, he was like, oh, say bro, that's such and such. And he was like, yeah, dude, you know. So he had told me that he had been locked up with the dude or they was in a halfway house together or whatever. And you know, I think he did acknowledge me. It's like that's my old lady, you know how dudes. Of course, a man not gonna be a respectful man is not gonna be in another man's woman face for too long. So it's kind of like a, oh hey, how you doing, and kind of back to him. So whether the guy got my tea or not, I don't know. I really don't think he did, but whether he got it or not, I don't know. So, when that happened, it's like, you see, uh, I told you, you never know who you can run into, and da 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 da. So, that. Um, Odell was, I would say, Odell was verbally abusive. He never put his hands on me, but he was verbally abusive. He used to mess with my confidence. Um, you know, he was 9 years older than me, but I think he still was in a mindset like he was still in his 20s when he first got incarcerated. Like I said, mind you, he was in there for 10 years. So I feel like he still had that mindset of a youngin', and he still never had matured yet. Um, on top of that, it was some stigma around that because here you are, you did 10 years, and then you get out, and you're dating a transsexual, you know. And he told me he messed with somebody before, and it kind of like got word a little bit. Was it he messed with somebody before? Oh no, what happened was while him and the girl was still together, the girl had looked up me. She looked up numbers in his phone. And when you post ads, you will put that number on Google, and your ad is gonna pop up. So the girl had put those numbers on Google, and the girl put him on blast on Facebook and was like, "Oh, I found some tranny, numbers in my man's phone." And that girl had put me and another girl picture up there. So that got word in his town. So, people was questioning him. So, you know how men do lie saying, "Oh, I didn't know, da 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 da." And mind you, she did all that to stay with him. Girl, you knew what was going on. The evidence was there. But of course, when you're blinded by love, that happens. So, that was prior to us making it official. So, like I said, we would do date nights. He started getting more comfortable. He had met my family. I started falling deeper in love with him. And, it felt good. It really did feel good to like be with one man, be with a man that loves you and like you for you, not just wants you for your body or what they can take from you. Even though he was still working on comfortability, I loved and appreciated that about him. Now, he got a job. He was also a man that didn't mind taking care of business. So he was in charge of the rent. I was in charge of all the other bills. So that worked out, right? Until he lost his job. He ended up losing his job. One time I came home from work. I would work overnights. So I came home from work one night. I came home from work in the morning. I would work nights. We both would work nights. So I would get off like at 7. He would get off like at 8. So anyway, I would stop home because, like I said, we used to live around the corner. So I would stop home and, get it together before I go pick him up. And one time I came back home and I heard